Alright everyone, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to cover basically the best ways to optimize your website's design for you to get more conversions. So we're going to talk about call to actions, branding, testimonials, VSLs, and some other miscellaneous things. Basically the idea with a website's design is you want to optimize it. You know, in the structure video that we talked about, structuring the website is to handle every single objection in order to try to increase conversion rate. When we're talking about design, it's more of the emotional connection you could get with the person and all the psychological tricks you could embed within your website to increase conversions. So the whole point of us dealing with this type of website design optimizations is really to increase conversions. We're not going to talk too much about how to make them so beautiful that they become their own piece of art. This, maybe in other videos I might do some explanations on how to make sites really stunning. But for most cases, having the more beautiful your website is, it has increases in conversion rate up to a point. And when you get to a point where the website's too beautiful to the point where it's distracting from actually people taking actions on your website, or it doesn't convey information because it's so, it's aesthetically pleasing, but it doesn't make sense, then you get the diminishing returns. So we try to hit the sweet spot where you optimize your website's design for maximal conversion rate optimization. And basically this is what this video is going to be about. This is going to be tips for service businesses. So whether you're a contractor, agency, consultant, coach, whatever type of business you have, local or online, these tips can and most likely will apply to your business. If you are an e-commerce store, some of these will apply, but in most cases, I would say 90% of this is really tailored for service businesses. So just before I get into the video, this is what I do for every single one of these videos is so if you want to skip ahead if you've seen this before, but basically just to give you guys an overview of why it's important for you to optimize the design of your website. Now you might have some ideas already of it, just to have better branding, better appearance, but for conversion rate, it's sincerely important. So first thing I want to mention is this whole funnel here. So if you were to look at your service business and you were to split it up into parts, well, you have a few big parts. The biggest part is where a lead notices your business. So how to get more leads to notice your business. Then you have when the lead notices you, they're going to inform themselves. So they're either going to contact you first, which they're going to skip to this section here, or they're going to inform themselves. And what does it mean? Well, they're going to check you out. They're going to see if you're trustworthy. They're going to see if they could spend money with you and not get screwed over, basically. They're going to see how reputable you are and all these other factors. They're trying to test you. They're trying to look at you. They're trying to see, okay, can I engage with this person in a way that is going to benefit me? That is where, optimizing your online reputation, your website in all forms, and even your content has an effect to increase your conversion rate. So basically here it's all conversion rate optimization. Here it's increasing the amount of leads. Then when you get further down the funnel, which we have other videos talking about, is when the lead contacts you, so how to increase your close rate. And then after that, when the lead purchases from you, how to increase your AOV or your LTV, so average order value or your lifetime value. And then when all of that is done, when they receive the service, how you could improve your onboarding process and post-delivery to reduce refund rates, and then increase also your client retention, LTV, and so on and so forth. So this video is really going to be covering just this section here about website design, and we have a training going over basically this whole thing. This video is probably going to be 30 to 45 minutes long. We're going to go through this whole document. By the way, if you want to follow along, this document is linked for free in the description, so you could download it and follow along while I'm doing this video. If not, you just check out this video and you'll be okay. Now, one thing I wanted to do before is I want to go to our projections calculator. So if I go here and I click here, I'm just going to copy a document again. This is just going to give us an idea of what it could actually mean in terms of money, how much money you could actually make with improving your website design. So here's a pretend company. So imagine these were your statistics. You could play along with these statistics at home. If ever you get access to this board, you could also implement all these metrics, like your own metrics, your own business metrics here, and then compare. So imagine this fake business has 2,000 visitors a month, a conversion rate to their website and all the other platforms at 3%. So from 2,000 people that see them, only 3% of them end up contacting them. Out of those 3% that contact them, only 30% end up purchasing at an average order value of $2,000, let's say, refund rate 2%. So total, these are the stats of the business. They make $8,000 a month from their website. This is going to be most of you guys. Some of your businesses are going to be higher, maybe $20,000 a month, $100,000 a month, maybe $1 million a month. Most cases, most people are going to be at this range. In any case, these apply to every single business. They just make more sense the higher up, the more revenue you make. Now, if I were to look here at conversion rate boost and we go to website, and I were to increase the conversion rate of your website by 10%, which is very reasonable to say. This is something that we've seen when we've done work for our clients in the past. We've done this time and time again. 10% isn't that much of a boost, but it still has an effect on your business, because if nothing else changes, assuming nothing else changes, a 10% boost in conversion rate makes you go from that $8,000 initial dollars a month to now you're making $9,700 a month. So you got a 10% boost direct into sales. So this is the beauty of it. If your sales are coming from your website, then you could directly correlate them. Having improvements in your website can have significant effects into your actual conversion rate and how many people are actually buying from you. So seeing this as it is, optimizing your website's design, if you optimize all three parts, I believe you could aim for 30% improvements in conversion rate. Pretty, I would say pretty systematically, like most people could achieve that 30%, especially if your website hasn't been updated in a while. You could probably get that up to 100%. We've seen in some cases, 50% increase in conversion rate, 100% increase in conversion rate. In any case, if you're doing website design optimizations, you could aim for 10. You could aim for maybe even 20, 30, but we're going to stay with 10 just to make it the most reasonable as possible, so that it can make sense to you that if you were to do these optimizations we're going to talk about and just get 10%, how much would it be worth to your business? In this case, for this business that's only making $8,000 a month, or is making $8,000 a month, is $880 a month extra profit. So if you take that out, in 60 months, well, it's 60 times 800. So whatever that comes out to, maybe I think it's $24,000. So you see how these improvements can have an effect on your business, especially long-term, a lot more. Actually, it's more than $24,000. Makes absolutely no sense. So after 60 months, you see you have an increase of almost $100,000 in terms of profit. So let's get into the actual training here. So enough with the overall explanation. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. So let me get back here and let's get into the training. So it's going to take a little time to load because it's video. We're filming the video. So let's get 30 to 45 minutes, days to implement for beginners, 1 to 2 days. Some of these might take longer, like some of these optimizations are going to take longer. But in most cases, if you're tech savvy, or even if you're a beginner and you're doing your own website, some of these are going to be so simple to do. You can do them 1 or 2 days. The other ones like structure optimization, maybe even speed, take a little bit longer. We'll design some of these aspects you could do in 30 minutes. So let's get into the actual things you can do. Let's skip all this introduction. We already did this. Why you should do it. I'm just going to reiterate this one last time because there's some other factors I didn't mention. So increase in sales, like we're saying, increase your conversion rate, so more sales. Reduces confusion, so it could even increase your close rate. So if we're looking at this funnel down, if you're improving your website and more of these people that are noticing your business inform themselves and like you, they're going to contact you. This might even increase your close rate because those people are going to have such a good experience with your website that might entice more of those people to end up actually purchasing from you. So not only just contacting you, but actually contacting you and purchasing from you. So you could see this is the case for most website improvements. Your website's at the foundation of everything in your business online. Everything leads to your website, everything links to your website, everything links out from your website. People have to contact you 89-90% of the time through your website. And so that having this set up properly, the core of it properly, has an effect on everything else on the side. So like I was saying here, if your website's design is improved, well, maybe you're getting a 5% more increase in show-up rates because people are showing up to their appointments because they're interested in what you're offering, because through the website's design, it's convinced them more. So you're getting 5% increase there. So now you're adding these up, and they're not really additive, they're multiplicative. There's a multiplication factor to it because now it's 5% boost in inquiries and show-up rate from that initial 3% plus that 0.3% that we've added. So there's multiplications going on as well when you're improving all these things. But for the case of this video, for the case of most businesses, we're just going to claim 10% as a benchmark. The rest that comes is just going to be bonus. So let's go here. Back again. The other thing too can improve your search engine rankings, because if your website is designed better, people are going to be more engaged on it. They're going to stay longer on it. If they stay longer on it, Google's going to recognize your business's website as more valuable. And if it does that, then the likelihood that it's ranking higher is going to increase. And so you're going to even rank higher. So it has effects on both sides. So on the side when your clients actually contact you, and those sides before they even contact you. So on those senses, those are extras. Those are not the main objective of optimizing your website design, but these are nice add-ons that can happen as well. Consistent branding, this is just something to take into consideration. If you have consistent branding across all your platforms, that just keeps people in the same ecosystem, doesn't get confusion, reduces the amount of going on your website, leaving it because they don't think it's your business. So just basically, if you would think as your website as a bucket, and it has a bunch of holes in it, you're just basically just tapering and just blocking all those holes so you capture the most amount of water possible. So think of it as a funnel as well, with holes in it. So let's see here the types of optimizations you could do. So the main ones we're going to talk about: CTAs. CTA stands for call to actions. So call to actions are the buttons. So let's say in this Mara board, this is a call to action. So it's just basically the button you want people to take, the action you want people to take, the main ones. So we're going to talk about that. VSL. VSL is a video sales letter. So maybe I could give you guys an example on our website. Oops. Let's go on this here. So if you see here, it's going to take a long time to load just because of this video, but in normal times it should be faster. So you see here, this is our VSL. So if people were to click on this video, they would see a video going over the different optimizations that we do, because this is one of the services we offer. So before and after of what your website could look like. It's basically, a VSL is just a video, it's a video sales letter. So it's basically trying to sell people. The screen is going blank because of the recording. Anyways, it's going to fix itself. So the idea with a VSL is basically you are selling the idea of your services in longer content format compared to having text, because it's a lot more engaging to engage with a video than to engage with just having to read text. So if you're a customer going through a person's website, you much rather see a video, or most people are going to much rather see a video. You could give out more information in faster times, and you could just make a emotional impression also on the person, because now they've seen your face, they've seen your business, they've seen what you represent, they got a feel for you. And so you're giving them a lot more information, even if it's just intuitive information. It's not logical, logical text information, statistics information. It's more of a feeling information. And so that could get people to feel you, especially if you're in an industry maybe that is very specific to your local culture or your local region or your language in the region or your slang or whatever. So you could just make people feel a little bit more at ease, knowing that, okay, you're a lot more like them just because of this video. It just personalizes the whole thing. And for the design aspect, even for structure aspect, it has a tremendous effect on the conversion rate. Then we got testimonials. We're going to talk about which are the best testimonials to implement into your website and how you could design them to increase conversion rates, and how you should present them in a way that helps customers to feel more secure with your business than before. So considerations that you should apply to all these aspects of website design optimizations: consistent branding, like we were talking about. If your Instagram has a certain color palette, your Facebook has a certain color palette, you want the same one on your website, and you want the same one across all the pages on your website, just to make it seem consistent, doesn't break patterns, doesn't offend the aesthetics of your website, that doesn't affect it in a way that leads the person to want to click off your website. Basically, you want to try to appease every single sense possible. Mobile optimization, this is something people might not consider, starting to consider more, but I think it's something more than 80% of traffic is spent on mobile, so mobile phones, on your phone. So if you were to do a website, it would only make sense that if you're trying to optimize for conversions, you were to optimize for your website on mobile first. So that desktop is a little bit less performing because we decided to put these features this way. Doesn't matter. Mobile is the most important one. Now, this is going to depend on your industry. You should check your own statistics. You should see what actually is the traffic split within your website, because what we've seen with the clients in the past is that for, let's say, contractors, it's been more like a 50-50 split. So basically, the more expensive your service is, the more split it is between desktop and mobile, because people are most likely going to make that decision on their desktop. Gives them more information, gives more traffic. It's less of a phone decision to make. Whether, in comparison, if you have a lower ticket service like a hair salon, and maybe you're offering your services like that to your restaurant, people might take reservations on their phone. They're on the go. It's more of a quick action. I take out my phone and I do it. Computer, bigger contracts, $100,000 deals or whatever it may be, people are going to want to engage on it through their desktop. Just gives them more information. So something to consider, but in any case, you want to optimize your mobile. And then emotions. The way you want to design is through emotions. It's not really a logical thing. That's why it's sometimes difficult. And in this video, we're not going to go too much into how to actually build up the the different details of aestheticism and how to optimize for that. It's just more how to design the overall look of it, the overall guidelines, you could say, to actually set up for it to be an emotively, to have a good emotion connection, a good emotional connection with the client when they're scrolling through your website. Now, call to actions. So we're going to go through this first. Those are the buttons, the main buttons on your website. So as you can see here, let's say on our website, let me just close this. We've got, the main call to action here. We've got another call to action there. So if you were to see the reason why you want to optimize your call to actions, and you might think, okay, well, what's the difference between, a bad call to action, a good call to action? The conversion rate improvements for doing so is probably like something like 10%, 20% in some cases, because if your website, let's say if on our website we had a button that was gray, that was, small text, let's say like this, it was written here in the top corner, it doesn't really have a border around it, you don't even know it's a button, the likelihood that people are going to click on it drops almost to zero. And so what you want is you basically want to make it look as much as possible as a real life button, and you want to make it engaging with hovering animations and shadows and all the other types of things like an icon and the right text, to make it appear as much as possible as a real life button and to really entice people to actually want to press it. Now, there's some part of it that's just psychology and trying to get people to press a button, but at the same time, this is the easiest way to increase your conversion rate, and just makes people know that the button is there, because sometimes people are looking for it and they might not find it, and that's the worst thing for your business. Another side note for this too, which we're going to talk about later, is basically you want a call to action, so your button, the main action you want people to take, to be across your website. You do not want people to scroll one page without seeing your button. So basically that's the rule of thumb there as well. So let's get into it here. So let's go to, so you see, as I was saying, if they don't click, they don't buy. So they don't click, they don't contact you, and they don't click, they don't engage with you. So it's a lost lead. So you want them to click on those buttons, and it's good for directing action. So if you want people to do certain actions, you want them to take it in certain orders or certain things you want them to do, then you could direct those. And so it helps for that too. So how to optimize your actual buttons? A bunch of things here. So we got text, color, size, animation, shadow, icon, illustration, under the CTA, shape, placement, sticky CTA, and extra tips. Again, if you guys want to download this training, you can go for it. I'm going to skim through this a little bit because, it's relatively simple. But like I was saying before, you could actually have some good conversion rate improvements here. Now for text, best to use actionable words. So you don't want to say get your free, you want to say get your free quote instead of get my free quote. So you want to talk about the action that they're going to get. So basically, using your or non-possessive determiners, as they tend to perform better than my. So get your free quote compared to get my free quote. You want to use an offer instead of a basic CTA. So get your free quote instead of call now, which much more enticing and is a lot more valuable to the client. So not just click here or just like contact us. So this is the main one that I see is contact us. Contact us doesn't give you any indication. If I press this button, am I contacting you directly? Am I calling you? I don't want to call you right now. Maybe I just want to send you an email. So what is actually happening if I press this button? So the more descriptive you can be, the better. Obviously, when you get too descriptive, it gets too long and the button just doesn't make sense in terms of size. But in any case, you want to be as descriptive as possible, as concisely as possible. Color, you want to stand out the most from the background. So if I give the example here of ours, this really stands out from the background, this really stands out from the background, and you really see that it is a button. There's no question about it. It's a button. So, we have some other ones after, but in any case. So, color for that. Red seems to be the one that performs the best. Test to see if it makes sense with the rest of your site. So apparently, if we were to go for minute optimizations, red is the best. I believe green is probably second best, something like that, or orange is second best. In any case, test out a bunch of colors. They might have an effect, they might not have an effect. If it's an effect, it's a small one, but still something that's so easy to test for that it might be worth it for you. So if you're doing, if you have enough visitors a month on your website, maybe you have 1,000 visitors a month on your website, you test your website, 50% traffic, so 500 people to this variation with red button, 500 people to a variation with blue button. You see, okay, am I getting 10% more leads because of this button change? Perfect. I've just made 10% more revenue in my business because I changed the color of a button. So might not be as extreme as 10%, might be 2%, maybe 3%, and you have to test it out for a little bit longer, but in any case, interesting to note. For size, bigger is usually better. Make it big enough so no one can miss it, but not too big that it's an eyesore. You have those scammy sites that whenever you press on other links and you go on shady websites, you get those scammy buttons. They take off all the space, and basically wherever you click on the page, you're actually going to end up on a button. You don't want to do that. That's not conducive to a good exchange. This is a way to scam people. But what you want to do is basically make it as big as possible so it doesn't become unattractive to the eye, so it doesn't break the aesthetics of the site. So while keeping the aesthetics, I would say, the size that we have on our website seems to be reasonable. We could put it bigger, we could test it for bigger. For us, for the brand's image, we're trying to be a little bit more minimalistic, so we're trying to not overwhelm people too much when they get on the website. And I believe it's clear enough with the background that's black. It's clear enough that it's a button, and making it bigger is probably not going to have that much of an effect on conversion rate, even might have a negative one. So that's it for that. In terms of animation, you could use a jiggling animation. So after 5 to 10 seconds of someone landing on your page, you could attract their attention to the button. Like animation suffice. We didn't do it in our case just because it's not something we find matches the aesthetic of our brand. So that's why we weren't interested, but it does help with conversion. So basically, it would be this button here. Let's say that after those 5-10 seconds that I've already been on the website, it will start jiggling back and forth like this. Would maybe shake a little bit, maybe like pulsate up and down or pulsate front and back, and that just increases conversion rate because it just attracts people's eyes to that button. So another thing you could do, again, sometimes it could seem as scammy. So depending on the type of reputation you're trying to have for your brand, you might not want to do that. You might want to do that. In any case, it does help conversion rate. So if you're trying to get more conversions, that's one way to do it. You can make it expand and raise slightly when hovered. This is something we do. This is something I would recommend for every single business to do, because it just makes it a lot more engaging, and it makes just sure that this is a button. So if ever you do it, this is not a button and this is a button. So just make sure for that. Then after that, for the shadow, you can include a slight shadow to make the button stand out more and look more like a button would in real life. So that's something interesting there. So if you want to add a shadow here. Icon illustration, you can include an arrow, clicking finger, whatever other type of icon that would describe what the button means. If I go back to the example of our site, we have a booking calendar icon. So you know that if you're going to press this, it's not going to be a phone call, it's not going to be an email, it's going to be a calendar. So it just engages people that are looking to book a call, or they're looking to check our calendar spots. Well, they click on a button and they see it. If it were a phone call, it would be a different call to action, so on and so forth. Then after that, you've got the shape. So, then you have under the CTA. So what you could do is you could include reviews and ratings under your call to action. It can include a short description or offer or guarantee under the call to action. In our case, the guarantee is up here, so we didn't mean to put it down here. Including the reviews is a very good one. So having reviews here. In our case, because the services are so varying, anyways, for our brand purposes right now, this doesn't make sense. Maybe in the future we might include it. In any case, this is something you could have, let's say in your main call to action, you have like a 5 stars here, and you show all the faces of the people that have reviewed you, and then you have the amount of reviews that you've had, and that just increases the likelihood people are going to press on the button. You can have that at multiple places within your website. Then you've got the shape. So call to action shape is best to be rectangular with rounded corners. Apparently this increases conversion rate the most. It imitates real life buttons as much as possible. Obviously a button, if you imagine a button, sometimes it's a round button, but for text it's difficult to put it. So rounded corners on buttons seems to perform better, but it stays to be that it's best to have a rectangular. If it's a circle button, it kind of doesn't make sense for websites. Then after that, placement. CTA is best to be visible on every slide, on every page. Usually converts better when a CTA is visible at all times. So in our case, it's on our header. So whenever someone's scrolling, they're going to keep seeing it. It has, bunch of mentions of the button, a bunch of places in the website. So just keep making sure that the person sees it, because the worst thing that can happen is that the person is ready to contact you, but doesn't have the button to do it. So just make sure you have it everywhere. That increases your conversion rate right there. After that, you could even have a sticky one. Us, we have a sticky, chatbot. We have an AI chatbot here, so we don't want to clutter it with too much information. Again, we're going for more of a minimalistic style. In the future, we might do it. In any case, for most service businesses, it might be good for you to have your phone number here, as well as maybe your email. So like an email icon, like a mail icon, and then a phone number icon. So it just makes it easier for people to click it, and especially on their mobile devices. So when they're on their phone, instead of them having to go to your menu or to have to go to the header. So basically, it would be tougher with the thumb. It just makes it easier that it's right next to them. So it's right on the right side. Most people are right-handed, so it's right on the right side for them to click on it as easy as possible. Basically, you're trying to reduce the friction of them contacting you. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to contact you. So as soon as they get the idea that they feel like contacting you, they're going to contact you. That's the idea behind the whole thing. One thing that I didn't even write in the training, but I should mention, is that if you're doing mobile optimizations for your buttons, the thing that you could do, actually for desktop, is let's say you have a phone number or an email. So instead of having a contact us by email type of messaging, so let's say this button you were trying to get people to call you, put your number, put your email if you're on desktop. If you're on mobile, then it could be an icon or it could be text. But if you're trying to get people to do that, you want the email or the number there. The reason why I'm saying this is because most people are not going to call from their desktop. So if the button leads to a phone number, it's just going to pop up the phone number. People can't really use it. They can't engage with it if they're on their desktop. What they want is they want the number so they could call you on their phone. So what you want to do is to have it set up on your phone. To have the phone number showing, maybe with the icon of a phone number, or same thing for the email, so that people could take up their phone and do it themselves, end up calling you or end up emailing you themselves from their phone. Just increases your conversion rate. It's not, and the issue with this optimization is that for an agency that's doing this, let's say even for us, it's not worth it for us to do it, which we still do it for clients, but it's not worth it for us to do it because we aren't tracking those. So it doesn't show up as a conversion for us because people aren't clicking it. But the thing is that people are doing the actual call, so it's increased the likelihood they're actually calling. So it's better for the business, it's worse for the industry, worse for the agency working with them. That's a side note that most agencies might not tell you just because it's not worth it for them to implement it. But put the phone number, put the email, put the information up there on desktop so they could, or whatever information they might need from their phone, just makes it easier for them to set it up. Now that we have this, extra tip, if you have a call to action with a background image of a person, make sure that person is looking at the call to action to increase conversions. So if you have, let's say, a service that is, in our case, where we have this video, so the only person we have facing is this, which is an AI person. In any case, this video, we have him facing the front of the camera. That attracts attention, that keeps retention rate on the website slightly. But what you could have is that, let's say your service business, like a hair salon or a dentist, or like a dentist, you have a very visually stunning, visually represented service. And so what you might want is you want the person to stay smiling. If you're a dentist, you want the person smiling, but looking at the button. So if their face was here, let's say where my cursor is, their face was here, their eyes should be looking at the button down there. For some reason, it increases conversion rate. How much? This is something to test. If it gets too annoying for you to set it up, it's not worth it. But if you have images and you notice, okay, I have these two images, they're pretty much the same quality. One's looking basically down and the other one's looking up in the sky. I'm going to try the one down, see if it helps with conversion rate. If it doesn't. But this is something that seems to work. You could test it out. You could have, two faces looking at it. If you're a hair salon, same thing. If the girl has beautiful hair and it has her looking down, at the button, that increases conversion rate as well. So some little tricks to improve it. After some applicable across-site improvements for your call to action. So across the page, you want to sprinkle your call to actions. The worst thing that can happen is that a non-technical person sees your website and cannot find the button to call you. This is probably the third time I stressed this point, but this is the easiest thing you could do it doesn't have a testing feature to it. It's not really a thing of, should I test it, should I not test it? It's put the buttons everywhere, every single scroll. You're probably going to get, I would say 99% of the time, from my experience, 99% of the time, you're going to get an increasing conversion rate. I don't see the logical reason why it wouldn't help you. So again, all these modifications seem trivial. They're not. A properly optimized call to action can easily boost conversion rates by 10-20% if you, like I was saying, you had it so bad that people wouldn't even see that button, up to even 200%. We've seen 200% is crazy in the sense that you would have to really have bad call to actions. Basically, almost nobody's clicking on those buttons. But we've seen websites that aren't set up properly and that the buttons are, because of design reasons or whatever other reasons, are so difficult to find that even me as a designer trying to find them, I'm having a hard time. So imagine how many clients are having a hard time not engaging, and then you're wondering why your conversion rate is 0.5% when the industry standard is 3%. So just that change might be, the rest of your website might be perfect. just that change is going to increase your website conversion rate from 0.5% to 3%. So in those rare, well, I wouldn't even say rare, those terrible cases, there's a lot of improvements that can be made there. Now, for the video sales letter, we talked about this in the structure video, so how to optimize your website structure. So if you check that out, we're going to have a part of this. In this video, we're going to cover more the design elements of a VSL. The other one, we're talking about the structure of the VSL, so how to set it up in a way to handle every single objection in order and the length of the video and whatever. This one, we're just going to talk about more of how to brand it in a way, to how to keep it on brand and so on. So why is it important? I talked about this a little bit earlier, but increases content consumption. So the more time people spend with you, the more likely they are to spend with you. So spend with you. So that helps. Increases conversion rates. A proper VSL serves as a soft sales pitch. Just gets people to learn more about your business, gives them a lot more information a lot faster. And like I was saying before, gives them a feel, gives them a bunch of information that isn't a logical sequencing information. It's not front brain information, it's more emotional. So that does that. Differentiates yourself from your competition, because if every single one of your competition is a bland website, or not even a bland website, but I mean it's just a brand, now you're a brand with a face, and a face is a lot more recognizable than a brand. You know, that's why agencies like insurance companies have geckos or whatever, because an animal, a face, an actual face is a lot more recognizable than a name. You know, so things to play around with, but having that face, having a brand represented person associates people to that brand, and it just keeps that connection a little bit stronger. Communicate better. It's a lot easier to convince someone to watch a 2-minute video than it is to read a 2-minute text. Easier communication, better retention. So in most cases that's going to be true. Now, how to optimize the VSL. So structure, like I was saying, more spoke about in the other video, but gist of it, you want to handle every single objection from the strongest one to the weakest one. So the one that people throw out to you the most, or maybe that, you know, if they don't say it out loud, you know that they're saying it. You handle all of those from that most common one to the least common one, and that's going to allow you to have a structure that's going to basically convert the most. So that's how I would see a VSL, because you could do it many ways. You could just show your business or whatever. You could do it with speech. You could have someone present, standing and just talking to the camera. You could have a bunch of different ways of doing it. But in any case, you want to handle the objections. You could do that through visual cues. So let's say if the main objection for, let's say, restaurants is the food good. That's the main thing. You could show people in your restaurant enjoying the food. You could show videos of the food that make your mouth salivate. You know what I mean? You show so there's some industries where it's showing it, and then there's other industries where it's maybe an agency, in our case, where VSL is a lot more structured, it's a lot more informative. Because even though I could show the before and afters of websites, which does evoke an emotional connection, the offer that we're giving is statistics. We're offering you more revenue for this price. We're offering you this for that. Like it's more cut dry. Compared to a restaurant, it's more I'm selling an experience. Obviously, I'm selling an experience too with let's say our agency. We're selling the experience of more profit, but it's a different type. One is more sensual, one is more motivational, structured. You know, so that's how you could set this up. So video content, 2 to 5 minute clip expressing the service, the benefits, and other offers and details. You can answer all the objections from most common to least common as your content, basically a sales Q&A. I say 2 to 5 minute clips because most businesses are not going to want to do a longer one. But if you have a 3-hour video, you could put a 3-hour video. When people get tired, they get tired. The only thing is you might get people discouraged to even start watching it because they think, oh, if it's a 3-hour video, I'm not going to watch the whole thing. But it's something to test out, because sometimes having a 50-minute video, and I would say, basically the way I would see it is, if you're a lower ticket service, so if you're a restaurant, a hair salon, whatever, people are making decisions quick. They don't need 10 days to think about, are they going to go to your restaurant? They're going to have to talk to their wife. They're not going to, well, some cases, but you know what I'm trying to say. So in most cases, what you want is, for those service businesses, you want a 3 to 5 minute video, 2 to 5 minute video, just a clip showing, expressing, emotional. If you're a industrial leasing company, and your contracts are $100,000 a year, when you're doing your videos, or $100,000 a month, when you're doing your videos, you want more information, you want more poise, it's less fast paced, it's more explanatory. These people are they're going to talk to 7 people before making, even a phone call. And when they make a phone call, it's another 14 people are going to make a decision, and they're going to call, each one of them are going to call their wives, and then they're going to make a decision. So in that case, you want to just give more information, and that's where having a 2 hour long video might be more worth it. I see, you know, agencies doing 50-minute videos. That seems to be more reasonable. If it's 3 hours, it seems like a movie. It's a little bit too long. 50 minutes, it's like, okay, enough information, and maybe I could skip some parts. To test out, you could test out a 3-minute video, 25-minute video, 100-minute video, see which one converts better. You keep the one that converts the best. This is the beauty also with optimizing your design, is that there's so many ways to do it that you could just basically do a big variation, test out the biggest variations, like your call to actions. You test that out for a month, you see which one performs better, then you keep the one that performs best. So you just got yourself a 10% boost. Next month, okay, we tried this VSL, that VSL. How much is it converted? Okay, we like this one better. It's giving us 10% more conversion. So you could just constantly A/B test these things, and they're relatively simple to test. VSL is probably the hardest one, but they're simple to test. It's just a question of how many visitors do you have a month, and how statistically significant can you even make these tests. That's just the question. It's just that question. Any case, we're gonna keep moving here. So thumbnail, edited to entice clicks, utilizing modern editing, vibrant colors, and face looking at camera. If you want some inspiration, go on YouTube, see maybe the people in your industry that have the best YouTube videos, whether it's in any type of language, and you see the thumbnails and you see how they're presented. So you see their best video, you go on most viewed, most popular, see the best video, crop that, take that, send it to your editor or whoever, or even ChatGPT, according to these new updates. In any case, send that there, get your optimized thumbnail. You want it enticing, you want people to click on it. You could do autoplay. I say no autoplay because in most cases you want your website to load faster, because autoplay slows down your website. But in some cases you want to do autoplay, and so in that case you're not going to need a thumbnail. But in most cases, have a thumbnail, have the play button like us, let's say. So you see here, in our case, we're doing optimizations of websites. This is our main offer. We also do other things, but we do basically the whole funnel we cover. But this is our entry-level offer, is optimizing your website. So you see here, our thumbnail has interesting statistics. So 429% leads, this is one of the results for our clients. It decreased, you know, before it was a 3.8% conversion rate. Now we got it up, and we've got some more leads. So we go from this website to that website. So it's before and after. There's a face showing, there's colors, it's colorful, it's enticing to click. It's not bland, it's not boring, that's it. So it's enticing to click. It's going to give the information, and if you click on the video, we're talking about this subject. So that's how I would see optimizing your thumbnails. So many different ways to do it, but that's the main way I would see it. So you see, in our case, we're not even auto-playing the video just because it affects your website speed a little too much. Extra tip, using the face and voice of the owner personalizes the video and leads to consumers feeling like they can trust your business more, i.e. leading to more sales. So having a personal brand connection, especially if they've seen you on your social media, maybe they go on your website and now they see your face again, that really helps for conversion rates. So something to consider. Properly optimized video might take an hour to prepare, 1 hour to film, and an hour to edit, 3-hour process for a typical large boost in conversions. If you set it up properly, you don't need to do crazy videos. You could always hire an agency. They could probably do you a video, like I was talking about, a sensual, like senses video, film it in 6 minutes. Not 6 minutes. I mean, they charge you $600. They film it in 3 hours at your restaurant. They send you the video, all edited and everything. You just post it, you test it out, and you see if you have any boosting conversions. Now, part 4, we got testimonials. So for testimonials, the way I would say, well, first thing I'm going to go is this is why to optimize it, boost conversions. So typically we see higher conversion rates for having testimonials versus not having any. And I'm also going to talk about the hierarchy after of what are better testimonials or what are worse testimonials. And it improves brand trust. And what that does is that even for future dealings with a person, it affects their close rate, it affects everything after in your business. So when they see that you have 1,000 reviews, let's say if they were to see your business, and there's variation 1 where they only see 100 reviews, there's variation 2 where they see 1,000 reviews, but now everything here, actually I should switch them up, so 100 reviews is here, 100. The increase, let's say after that, the close rate is going to be here, the LTV is going to be here, the average order value is going to be here. The fact that you showed these reviews at the beginning just increases your brand's perception, and that increases the likelihood that they're going to trust you and they're going to spend more with you. And so your LTV is going to go higher, your AOV is going to go higher. How much? It's going to depend on so many factors, but in most cases, that's what's going to happen. And so it has an effect on the rest of your funnel as well. This is probably the one that has the biggest effect on everything. And if you are a service business and you have 100+ reviews, show every single one of those reviews. If you can, have it sliding until infinity. And even at the end of your website, you can have it scrolling, that they can basically see every single review you have. Show case studies, in the ideal world, You show video testimonials of influencers using your product, your service, sorry. You have video testimonials of normal customers using your product. You have case studies. You have interviews. You have blog, how can I say blog, like New York Times articles referring to your business, saying how good they are, even them reviewing it. So critics reviewing them, Google My Business reviews, Trustpilot reviews, Facebook reviews. You show them all. You want to show them all. Obviously, you want to optimize it in a way that's designed so that it doesn't become tacky, doesn't affect your brand's image. But you basically want to show them. You want to show them all. The more you show, the better it is. And the more you say you have, which you can't lie on these things, but you can, but not recommended. You want to show every single one you have. So now, if I go to how to structure your testimonials optimally, the thing I want to mention here is video testimonials are king. So if you were to go through the hierarchy of testimonials, at the base of it, you have 0 testimonials, so not showing any. You go a step higher, it's text testimonials, then text testimonials with those 5 stars or whatever it may be. So showing that is here. Then image testimonials, so having the face of the person or the service you offered with the testimonial, that increases conversion rate. Then after that, you have video testimonials. So that would be a video of either selfie style, or you filming the building that you did, or whatever type of service you offered, you're showing the haircut that you did and you show the review next to it. That's going to increase conversion rate. The ideal, I would say, and this you might have to test it out, but it's like selfie style reviews where people are just saying, hey, I'm so happy I got this service. Maybe it's their hair, they're showing their hair around. It's just more, it feels more genuine, and it doesn't feel, basically you don't want these reviews to feel like they're structured. You don't want these reviews to feel fake. Because the thing is, the last thing, if I'm looking at your reviews, I don't want to look at your fake reviews. I want to look at your real reviews. And if I have any sense that these reviews are faked, then I'm not going to trust them. And so this is what happens sometimes, is that if you see text reviews, you don't trust them as much as image reviews. And image reviews, you don't trust as much as video reviews. And you don't trust video reviews as much as influencer reviews. Or maybe you don't trust the influencer, but in any case, that's a side note. You're going to be more compelled if it's an influencer, if it's somebody you already know. So it could be an influencer in the sense that it's somebody they already know, or it's just somebody in the public eye that they recognize. Then I would say from all that, the best part of that is having then the live review pop-ups. So basically reviews that are popping up. So like Jane just left a review 22 hours ago. It pops up on the side screen. Michael left a review 10 hours ago. So how recent the reviews are. So basically you want the influencer reviews at the top, and you want them shown to be recent reviews. So they pop up. And you also want to show them from the third party. So basically, if you were to have the best reviews possible, it would be video reviews popping up. So let's say a section of your website with the video reviews, pop-ups constantly from new reviews coming in. And then you want their third-party reviews to be embedded within your website. So people see the Google reviews from there and the current rating, with the rating and the amount of reviews, Trustpilot, Facebook, and all the platforms. So they could, because basically you want to, like I was saying, you want to show that your reviews are the most real possible. And how you could do that is by showing that all of these platforms that are legitimate, you have reviews from them, you have good reviews from them. You have all these videos that are real people actually filming themselves. And then you even have live review pop-ups showing you that there's reviews right now. So it's not like we did this 5 years ago. This is what we did right now. We're getting them right now. We've just got a client last week, just got a client yesterday. Now, these are going to be very useful. Well, they're going to be useful for any type of service business, but extremely useful for businesses that are doing large amounts of profit and are getting a lot of churn, like a lot of customers coming in, so a lot of reviews, because you could share a lot more. If you're a service business and you're getting 10 reviews a year, it might be difficult to do these pop-ups and stuff like that. But in most cases, if you're doing a lot of revenue, you're getting a lot of reviews, you can embed all these optimizations there. So that's the gist of it. If you guys want to download the trainings and check these out, or even screenshot all these things, these go more in detail. I'm not going to cover this right now. So that's pretty much it. Overall tips for testimonials. One sad truth of the world is, well, it's not really sad, but in any case, more attractive people convert more. So that's the truth. Better looking people on testimonials convert more, especially for services that are aesthetic, like hair salons or dentists. This is the thing, is that if you have a review testimonial of someone who isn't very attractive, but they have, let's say they just got served, they got a beautiful haircut from you. Well, the haircut, unfortunately, is dampened by the unattractiveness of the person. So the overall look, if you could think of it as a bouquet of flowers, it's bad to look at it this way, but it does affect conversion rates. So I have to say it. So If you are, if the person that is represented in your videos is less attractive than the average, well, it's going to affect your conversion rates, because people are going to assume, they're going to connect the unattractiveness of the person, or if they feel they're unattractive, with the service you offer them. And so it's going to reduce the quality of the service you have. And that's why models are used for any type of presentation. That's why models are used for any type of advertising. There's a reason why they don't use, at least we could say, typically unattractive people. So attractiveness depends on the person, but we're gonna talk real here. There's averages and there's average recognizable attractive traits. You want to use them if you want to increase your conversion rates. Now, using influencers, if you have the budget for it, using influencers to promote your services in the testimonials is one of the best ways to increase brand authority. That's something there too. The more attractive the influencer with the most followers, that's the best. If you get, people consider, the Kylie Jenners of this world attractive, you go with that. So whoever people consider to be attractive doesn't mean that you find them attractive. Whatever people consider to be attractive, you want to show them on your website, and that's on average going to get you better conversion rates. So that's pretty much it for that. Now for some little miscellaneous design optimizations. Little details might get you 2% here, 5% here, and whatever else. Let's see. So all the details can be optimized on your website. So when I'm saying all the details, I'm saying your background, your header, your logo, your font, your colors, your gradients of colors, the color combinations, the color palette, your cursor. You can optimize your cursor. You could optimize the videos. You could optimize the booking calendar. You could optimize everything. So you could get really crazy on optimizing all these things. The main aspects I would say, let's get back here. The main aspects I would say, if you were to test all these things out, these miscellaneous tricks we're going to talk about are pretty much the last step of it. If you were to optimize things and A/B test things, I would say the first two, so VSLs and VSLs, reviews, and the call to actions, those are the main ones you should optimize in terms of website design. Then after, if you've done all that, then it may be good for you to test out different backgrounds. Well, maybe a white background might be better than a black background, and maybe a white background with moving particles in the back just keeps people more engaged on the website. It's kind of just like it makes it look like a video. Or maybe animations where when people are scrolling, the background is modifying. So it's, in our case, I'll give you an example. We have these things here, slight animations that might overall increase the brand of the website, the aesthetics of the website, but also keeps people more engaged because it's just more animated. It just feels more engaging. It just gets people staying on the website longer. Then helps conversion rate and SEO rankings and so on. So all the animations you could do, the colors, so you could test out, a dark background, a white background. I noticed that for certain types of services, a black background might seem somber, might seem aggressive, might seem too, might even be considered sketchy. In some other agencies, it might be even, some other industries might be even preferred. In our case, we have a black background, but this is something we might be testing in the future to see, okay, well, if we put a white background, does that actually get us more leads? Sometimes it's silly stuff like that. And I would even go to say stupid stuff like that, because it doesn't change your offer, it doesn't change anything. It's just changing how you present it. It could be something as simple as changing your background from black to white. Now, animations, once again here. Now the mouse, this is something some people do. We haven't done it because it might distract people, but if you have a very designed website, you can even change the animation of the mouse. So you could have the mouse to be, instead of being a mouse cursor like this, you could change it to be a phone number. You could change it to be, if you have a logo that looks like, let's say like our logo at Vizions Digital, visionsdigital.com, this is the logo here. So we could change our cursor to be the logo, or to be similar to the logo. And so when people are going to the website, they actually have a cursor that is our logo. How much does that help in conversion rates? Again, these are going to be so minute, but it might help you for branding design, and maybe going to help your brand reputation. It might attract people to your website just because of these things. It might get your attention, get you a little bit of attention there. Auto click. So after a person has hovered for a button over 5 seconds, the mouse could automatically click the button, showing a loading while the mouse is hovering on the button. So if people aren't sure about pressing, this might increase conversion rates. Again, these tend to be on the edge of being annoying or being tacky tactics. So you gotta play around with these, but it might be interesting to test out. In terms of media, images of services, having images for every service you offer and show what it looks like. Use your own images as stock here. When I'm gonna go into media, I just realized here, this doesn't really apply to what I was saying before of these being extracurricular optimizations. Media, I would put it with the category of the testimonials and everything. So videos, images, you want before and afters, you want videos to be engaging, you want video, you could even add more videos. Let's say in our case, we have our testimonials, or case studies, excuse me. So we have videos at the bottom here showing the case studies of some of the businesses we worked with. You know, how we got this business 429% leads, this one 110% more website views, 72% more calls, 101 more website views, and so on. Just keeps people engaged within the website, just gets them to connect with us a little bit more. So you could always add those. You could add before and afters. You could add sliding before and afters. So you have a visual business. What you could have is these sliders where, let's say if you're a hair salon, you show the before you did the transformation and after. People love to play with these things, gets them more engaged, even on mobile. It makes it easier for them to do. Just shows them a lot more of what you're doing. That increases conversion rate. So different ways to play it there. Bonus tips here. Build websites on mobile and then desktop. 80% plus, like we're saying, depends, but 80% plus of traffic is now on mobile. Adapting your website for mobile first is crucial for increasing optimizations. Simple navigation, less buttons on the menu is usually better. Less confusion, more conversion. So like we have here, we don't have too many buttons. We don't have 100 places. We have other pages on our website. We don't just have these 3, but we don't show them there. It becomes too cluttered, and what we want people to take as an action is to book a call. You know, if they want to go see our guarantees or clients or plans, they can check those out, but it just makes it simpler for them to do so. Just less heavy. Scrolling animations can be used for every scroll. So while you keep your visitors engaged more, ultimately leading to more conversions, like I was saying, the things that are moving in the background. Simple is usually better. A simple site is easy to read, easy to understand, and easy to get what you want out of it. A rule of thumb is you want to write the text on your site that a 5th grader can read. You can ask ChatGPT to do this for you. I've learned this trick from Alex Hormozi from one of his videos, that he was saying that for, I believe it was his email list or something like that, that all he did was, he didn't change the offer, didn't change nothing about it. All he did is he changed the reading level to a 5th graderly reading level. And that increases conversion rate by 30% of that email list, or whatever the stat may be, I don't remember. All that to say is that the logic behind it is that if I'm reading an email, if I'm reading a website, I don't want hyper complicated words. Maybe as a brand, you're trying to show yourself as being authoritative and being, educated in the subject. So you're not going to use stupid words. You're not going to use uneducated words. But you don't want to structure in a way that it becomes heavy to read. You want to make it as easy as possible to read, to flow between the words, and to make it, and I would say like a 5th grader could read it. Even if it has words that are complicated because you have to use those, just make the flow of it easy to read, that a 5th grader could read it. Ask ChatGPT, it's probably you're gonna have to test out depending on the type of industry in, but this is something you do for every single one of your pieces of content. And this is also a trick that applies for social media, applies for sending out emails, applies for everything. This is something that we try to implement also in our business. And once again, here for the simple text, the more text you do is better for SEO to some degree, but it really affects conversion rate, because if you have too much information, it's too heavy to bear and people are going to leave the website. So it discourages people. Now, if you have the most important information at the top and you have them to read it, if I'm being honest, let's say in my case, if I go on a website, most of the time I'm probably reading 5% of what's written on that website. I'm not reading anything else. I'm not reading these long paragraphs. I'm not reading these long titles. I'm just skimming through everything. So instead of just making them skim through everything, just have that information there already skimmed. People do not read a 7-paragraph about a section. I would say, I'm saying nobody reads it. Small percentage of people end up reading those. So if you want, what you could do is you could set up a short about a section where people could skim through it, and then maybe have a longer one after. But in any case, 5th grader reading level. So that's pretty much it for the website design optimizations. If you want to optimize all the aspects of your service business online, we have all the other trainings. So if you want to download those, they'll be linked in the description below. And also they come with a checklist. So it just makes it easier for you to check all these things off. Even for website design, you have all the different things you could do. Just makes it easier. You download the checklist, you print it, whatever, and you go through your website and you do them all. Then also some A/B testing optimizations there. So that's pretty much it for the video. I'm just going to reiterate one last time the whole connection of your website design to the rest of your business. But if we see here, it's really at the center of everything else, and website design, optimizing it, increasing your conversion rate, just gets more of those people that notice your business to end up actually contacting you and end up purchasing from you, and hopefully getting you more profits and revenue. So that's it for the video. If you guys have any questions, any concerns, anything you want to add, remove, or change, or didn't make sense, please let me know in the comments. I want to keep improving this. I want to make this better and better with time. I don't want this to be a stagnant thing. So, new technology is going to come out, new things are going to come out. So I want to try to keep improving it all the time. Obviously, it's already heavy. There's a lot of information in this thing, a lot of information to go through. But at the same time, I want to keep adding it. It could really be something of value for everyone that's going to be watching these videos, or everyone that downloads these trainings. So hope for that. Also, second point, if you guys want to access this whole bundle, so this whole Miro board and all the information within it, the extra checklists, the extra information here, all the resources, the priority list, and so on, and even the revenue calculator, you could do so by downloading in the description below. This is a paid product. So if you go to that page, there's going to be a paid product. It's the optimization bundle. And but if you want the things for free, you can download those 12 trainings for free. If you want to work with us, Vizions Digital, we mainly do website optimizations. So like we talked about design, we do those for businesses as well as structure, speed, and so on. And we also do basically every single thing we're talking about in these videos. So we are an agency that works with businesses from A to Z, especially larger businesses, to try to optimize all these things for them and try to get them to rank higher on search engines, get them more revenue, automate certain processes, and so on and so forth, and obviously optimize websites. So that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.